We are going to describe the Thomas Fermi atom, which basically means we are going to apply the Thomas Fermi equations we already derived, obtained within the Thomas Fermi model. And in this case, the external potential we are going to consider is the external potential associated to the charge density corresponding to a nucleus of charge Z located at the center of the region. In this case, if we have an electron which is at r distance from that nuclear charge density of the region, then the external potential that electron feels is minus Z over R. So we're going to consider this external potential and these equations, so to get from here the induced density, the induced electronic density, and the induced potential. So how we are going to do that? So first, the external potential, as we said, is minus Z over R. Then it's important to have into account that in this case, the Poisson equation associated with that external potential is minus 4 pi times Z and the Dirac delta. We're going to define a new potential, which is the effective potential. And the effective potential is going to be the external potential plus the induced potential. That the induced potential, remember, was the potential that the electronic density of charge nr was created. So is the potential induced by this electronic charge density. So the effective potential, or the Poisson equation associated to this total effective potential, is the Poisson equation associated with the external potential, which is minus 4 pi times Z Dirac delta, plus the Poisson equation associated to the induced potential, which basically is given by the whole this expression. Okay, in this expression we have the mu, which is the Lagrange multiplier, or it can also be considered, which is the chemical potential. So what is that chemical potential? It's actually going to be a value. But what is this value? So in order to derive the value of that chemical potential, we can go in a range in R space where that value is easier to get. But that's not going to be R dependent. That's the same value everywhere. But at some range in R space, it's going to be easier to derive what's the value for we have for mu. For example, if we go to R to infinity, we can see that the induced potential, it will decay, so it will go to 0. That external potential, considering the external potential of this type, it's also going to 0 as well, at R going to infinity. And induced potential, of course, is going to go to 0 as well. So that go to 0, that go to 0, that go to 0 as well. So mu has go to 0 in order that equation to satisfy. So mu is going to 0. So that makes that equation easier to solve. Okay, so what we are going to do next? Next, we are going to look for an equation for the effective potential we have just defined, which is the external potential plus the induced potential. So, as we said before, the Laplacian of the effective potential is the Laplacian of the external potential, which is that one, plus the Laplacian of V, which is the whole thing, where mu is equal to 0, and these two terms are called V effective. So the Laplacian of the effective potential is this one, which is 4 pi, and this coefficient, just this a key here, is the prefactor arising in the kinetic energy associated to this uniform electron gas, times the effective potential to 3 to 4, sorry, here there is a missing factor here, and plus the Laplacian of the external potential, which is this term here. Okay, now we have this equation here, which is the equation associated to the effective potential, and as it's always the case, whenever we have differential equations, besides the equation, it's also important to have in mind which are the boundary conditions. And we are going to consider two boundary conditions. one at r going to 0, another one at r going to infinity. At r going to 0, the leading term, the effective potential, is coming from this term, which is coming from the Dirac term. That's why at r going to 0, the effective potential is going to be like minus z over r, the term coming from the external potential. And on the other hand, at r going to infinity, as the charge density is going to decay and everything is going to decay, the effective potential is going to 0 as well. So that's the equation we have to solve, and these are the two boundary conditions that we are considering. At r different from 0, the equation it gets a bit simpler, because at r different from 0, this term is not going to appear, in the sense that we have just this contribution at r equal to 0, and this contribution associated this term, it's remaining in the boundary condition at r equal to 0. So the equation we have to solve at r different from 0 is this equation here, where, considering that the system has a spherical symmetry, so the Laplacian gets simpler, and considering the spherical symmetry, then the effective potential is going to depend just on r. There is no angular dependence on the effective potential. Therefore, the Laplacian is going to keep just the radial component, and the angular component is going to disappear. So the Laplacian gets simpler as this one. And this is the equation that we have to solve at r different from 0. In order to solve that equation, we're going to make the ansatz that the effective potential is going to depend on this way. So minus z over x times a function we have to solve, we're going to call chi, which is going to depend on alpha, which is a constant that we have to determine, times x. So if we plug that equation here in that form of the solution in this equation here, it's easy to see that we can get that expression here, that if we reorder the coefficient going this term, this part in the right on the left hand side goes to the other part, then we have that equation. In order to have that equation simpler, we're going to make that coefficient equal to 1, so that alpha that has to be determined before, it's going to take this value. So if alpha takes this value, this coefficient here becomes 1, and the equation that we have to solve is this one. So this is the equation that we have for chi that needs to be solved in order to get a solution for the effective potential, and with effective potential we have the induced potential, and with induced potential we have the electronic density, and so on and so forth. So this is the equation that we need to solve, and with that equation we have to take into account the boundary conditions associated to that key function, which is at r equal to 0, the key function is equal to 1, so that at x equal to 0, then if this is equal to 1, then we are recovering that the effective potential is equal to minus z over x. And then at x going to infinity, then the g function is going to 0. So this is the differential equation, and this is the boundary conditions we need to consider in order to solve that equation. This equation has to be solved numerically, and solving numerically that equation, we can have a solution for the effective potential, the induced potential, the electronic charge density for the Thomas Fermi atom.